Flamengo is having a hard time and Filipe Luís takes over. We also have information here regarding Pedro, right? And the issue of the player's absence regarding the fracture. We're going to bring everything here, including a specialist doctor explaining how Pedro's situation is. And we're bringing a lot of other information here this Saturday, right? Remember that today, in just a little while, at 7:30 post-meridium, there's a Mengão game, Flamengo versus Fortaleza at Arena Castelão. Their fans are doing a ridiculous act of prejudice, hate, and envy against Flamengo's fans. But we're always against everything and everyone, right? Cheering for Mango, watching Flamengo being attacked on social media, right? This absurd hate that we're used to against Flamengo and against Flamengo's media. That will give odds above 3. It's going to be sensational. Total Flamengo goals over 1.5. Flamengo must score twice. They can win 2-1. They can win 2-0, 3-1, 3-2. Okay? All these scores work if Flamengo wins in the first half. They need to win both the first half and the game, okay? I would make this combo, or I could do it separately too. We need to have the odds for tomorrow's bet, right? Because Flamengo can be the leader again today. Flamengo can take the lead. A draw or a win is enough for Flamengo to go through. A draw gives Flamengo a 1-point lead over Palmeiras. A win puts them 3 points ahead, but Palmeiras still has one more win. So it's important for Palmeiras to drop points against Cruzeiro the next day as well, right? So Flamengo with a draw today or a win against Fortaleza away from home, Flamengo secures the lead again temporarily in the Brazilian Championship. And I want to give an important message here. First of all, it's very important to be in this position right now. I want to congratulate Cacau Cota, former Director of External Relations at Flamengo, a distinguished supporter of Mengão. He's a fan who has also taken part in several administrations as a director. He's a guy who helps Flamengo a lot, a counselor, a friend, a partner. I like Cacau Cota a lot. An example of true Flamengo spirit. I want to congratulate him because this week he became a benemerit. He became an honorary member of the club. And he was the honorary member with the highest number of votes in history. The honorary member with the most votes ever. That's huge, and it's huge because Cacau Cota deserves all the honors, right? Congratulations to Cacau Cota for becoming the most voted honorary member of Clube de Regatas do Flamengo. It's historic, right? Historic. Look, we had an important situation here to talk to you about, right? About the prejudice, hate, and envy from Fortaleza's organized fan groups. It's a shame what they're doing. Saying that Flamengo fans don't belong in the mixed section, only in the visitor section. Trying to kick out Flamengo fans who live in the Northeast. And it's not from Fortaleza's section, it's from the mixed section. At Maracanã, the East section is mixed with Vasco, Fluminense, and Flamengo fans together. They are inciting violence against those Flamengo fans who always stay in the mixed section there at Castelão. So there is incitement, a threat, and incitement to violence. They should be punished by the Brazilian Football Confederation. That club should be punished. Oh, but the club isn't responsible for what the fans are doing. The fans have to be held accountable in some way. And this is absurd, and I'll say more. Now, I'm really hoping Fortaleza gets relegated. Fortaleza's fans deserve to be relegated. They do. That team deserves to be relegated. Flamengo, for God's sake, help that team get relegated. These fans will only learn through pain. They'll only learn by being relegated. Punished, punished. Look, for the man up above, for the prejudice, for the hate, for the envy, okay? Because of your hate, your envy, and your prejudice, you organized Fortaleza fans, you deserve for your team to be relegated. It's already there, right? It's already second to last on the table, right? It's the runner-up second to last, right? They deserve to be relegated. A ridiculous, ridiculous attitude showing a lack of respect for the other team. Lack of respect, lack of humanity. Okay? Everyone has the right to choose their own teams, and what you're doing is a shame. Relegation is right there. Relegation is deserved. You deserve it. After those scores, you deserve relegation more than sport, okay? And look, Sport and I, we have our disagreements. That whole thing from 1987, which I also think is ridiculous, because Flamengo is the real champion of 1987. They say they went to the regular courts and managed to get recognized there. That's their problem. But the thing about what you guys did, the Fortaleza supporter groups embarrassed me and for sure embarrassed other Flamengo fans who live in Ceará, who live in Fortaleza. I feel sad for Ronaldo Angelim, who was an idol for both fan bases, having to keep up with this kind of situation and not even being able to speak out. Because for him, it must be very painful to see Fortaleza's organized supporters attacking Flamengo fans the way they were attacked. Okay, there, I said it. If you didn't like it, if you're a Fortaleza fan and you follow me, if you want to unfollow, feel free. The door is always open, okay? I'm going to say what I think is right. I won't tolerate prejudice here on this channel. Hate, envy, I won't tolerate it, okay? I'm speaking from the heart. Most Flamengo fans are in the northeast, in the north and northeast of the country. Flamengo has more fans in the north and northeast than in the southeast. Flamengo is more than a national club. It's international. The moment you understand and respect that, okay? Maybe you'll even evolve yourselves. Your team will play better. Get rid of that negative energy of always falling down all the time, right? That's something you're used to, right? Always dropping down to Serie B. You go down, come back up, go down again, come back. You can't manage to stay up. So when you who support those teams bring a better energy to your team, that stops, because all of that comes back. All that hate, all that envy comes back to you, right? I'll say it again. There, I said it. If you didn't like it, that's your problem, okay? I'm not afraid of hate. I'm not afraid. You can make a group of 3,000 fans, gather a bunch of people, make a group on WhatsApp. Let's go curse him out. Go ahead, it's fine. You can curse me. I'm telling the truth, man. I'm telling the truth. You have to put up with it, man. This is a shame. What they're doing is a shame. Fortaleza fans, you should speak out against this.
Anyone has the right to cheer for their team, wherever they are.
For sure, you Fortaleza fan don't agree with this. Because you know you have a neighbor, a friend, a cousin who cheers for Flamengo. You don't want anything bad to happen to him or for him to be attacked in the mixed section. Look, let me bring you the information about Flamengo's schedule for today, okay? Lunch at noon, 4 p.m. Snack, 5:10 p.m. Stadium departure, 6 p.m. arrival at Castelão.
The game is at 7:30 p.m. A table then at 10:40 p.m. Depart for the airport. At 11:45 p.m. Take off to Rio de Janeiro. And at 3:05 a.m. land at Galeão.
Man, that's a tough marathon, right? A tough marathon. We have 6 players at risk of suspension in addition to all 7 absences we have today. Flamengo is missing Pogar and Carrascal due to suspension. Without De La Cruz, who's having problems there again, right? Now he had a fever and all, a virus. Cebolinha is injured. Leo Ortiz is recovering. Alexandro, who was rested. And Pedro, who has a fractured arm. We're going to talk about it now. Flamengo has 7 players who didn't travel and 6 players who are 1 yellow card away from suspension, okay? Alan, Everton Araújo, Jorginho Arrascaeta, Luís Araújo, and Bruno Henrique are 1 yellow card away from suspension. And if they receive a yellow card from Davide Oliveira Lacerda, they will miss the next Brasileiro match against Sport on Saturday at Maracanã, okay? So, I told you about the problem that Filipe Luís is facing in the Flamengo team. And he will reach 76 games in charge of Mengo's main team in this Saturday's match. So far, the coach's time at Flamengo has been marked by strong results. There have been 75 games, 49 wins, 18 draws, and only 8 losses. The team scored 130 goals and conceded 43, with a success rate of 73.3%. You're watching footage of Mengo's training, which was already in preparation for today's game against Fortaleza, right?
They'll meet soon at 7:30 post-meridium.
Stay until the end of the video because I'll share Flamengo's probable lineup right at the end. It's a match at Arena Castelão, the 30th round, but for Flamengo, it's the 29th. The problem I was going to tell you about, despite these good numbers from Filipe Luís, is that since 2015, Flamengo has only scored 23 goals from direct free kicks. In the last 5 years, there have been only 7 goals. Man, 7 free kick goals in 5 years. This season, only De La Cruz scored from a free kick in the 2-1 loss to Central Córdoba at Maracanã in the Libertadores.
So, in a press conference, Filipe Luís acknowledged the difficulty Flamengo is having right now in improving this type of play and admitted that the team can still get better in this aspect. There's Eric, there's Carrascal who takes them, there's Luís Araujo who also takes them. It's tough, you know? Because there's no time to practice direct free kicks, right? So, whoever played against Palmeiras can't shoot and practice a large number of free kicks. Set pieces too. There's a risk if you keep taking corners with players who have had less than 72 hours. So, it's hard to train this kind of play, but whenever there's time, I like them to practice. I like them to practice with a wall. But yes, it's something we can train and improve. Filipe Luís admits Flamengo needs to work on free kick training, so he's acknowledging an issue with the team. Today's main free kick takers are Leo Pereira, Arrascaeta, De La Cruz, Luís Araujo, Pulgar, and Carrascal. Most start, but Flamengo needs to improve on free kicks. What do you think? Are Flamengo lacking goals from set pieces? What's your take, Flamengo fan?
Step over, step and leg. Good. Step over. Good, Leo. Move your shoulder. Good, Alan. Good, Leo. Good, 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 good. Again, go.
Another important piece of information for us to bring is that DECON is investigating Fortaleza for raising ticket prices for Flamengo fans. Abusive prices, okay? So Fortaleza is the target of a DECON investigation after complaints about excessive increases in ticket prices for Flamengo fans. It's just cowardice, man. It's just cowardice against Flamengo fans in the Northeast. We have to complain. I need you all to like this video as much as possible. You Flamengo fans from the Northeast, share it. Share this video, like this video, right? Share it in the groups, comment, support our voice, okay? The agency reported that visiting section tickets for the match against Rubro Negro cost 250 reais. In earlier games against Mirassol and Vasco, tickets cost 100 and 150 reais respectively. Ceará Club has been notified and is under investigation by the Consumer Protection Agency, reports Diário do Nordeste. These are abusive prices, proving one thing. Flamengo is truly the cash cow of Brazilian football. When Flamengo plays, they want to raise the price. It's impressive, man. This is a shame. I'm going to bring it up now before we give the full information about the game, the situation with Pedro. All right? People are really participating. We're getting close to 15,000 likes on Instagram. Lots of comments. According to journalist Renan Moura, the striker Pedro gave an opinion that was decisive for him to step away from Flamengo's upcoming matches to prevent his right forearm fracture from worsening. Remember, there is an estimated recovery time of 4 weeks. He might be available to play against the last 4 teams Flamengo will face in the Brasileirão, and he could also take part in the final if Flamengo makes it of the Libertadores. After being evaluated at Nino do Urbu, the number 9 decided he chose, right? In this case, to protect himself and wait for the bone to heal. We had talked about this, about the healing of the injury, which is estimated to take between 4 to 6 weeks to recover. Even so, the player still hopes to return before the Libertadores final, if Flamengo advances, right? Pedro has already played, so he wants to, okay? He has hope and wants to return before the Libertadores final. Pedro played for more than 20 minutes with a broken arm before being substituted by Filipe Luís.
So that's Pedro's own expectation that he'll be able to play in a possible final if Flamengo makes it and qualifies against Racing.
It's especially hard to qualify without Pedro. Okay? We have Dr. Jean Lang here, who did a collab with us. I'm gonna bring him here now. His opinion regarding Pedro, okay? We're actually here in the collab with him. Let's just see Dr. Jean Lang.
Yeah, guys. The striker Pedro will be missing from the red and black squad next week. Guys, it's unbelievable. Pedro had a fracture in a bone called the ulna in his forearm. I'll show you how it is in a moment. But what's more intriguing is the way it happened. Usually, ulnar fractures are called nightstick injuries, which is when, for example, someone is going to attack. The person puts their arm up and then gets hit on the arm. It's a direct trauma, and then there's a fracture. However, this is Pedro's case, so it was a situation
We already know the situation.
completely innocent. Pedro's arm, you can see, gets kind of squashed. Look. Between Pedro's body and the other racing player's body, it was just a regular play in the game. This fracture happened. How does this type of fracture that Pedro had work? Come here, I'll explain it to you. So in the forearm, we have two bones, the radius.
Pay attention here, okay.
So the bone that Pedro fractured is the ulna, this one right here.
And there are basically two types of fractures. Fractures with displacement. Look, it's because the bone gets really out of place.
Look here, Pedro didn't have this type of injury. If Pedro had this injury, he would be out for the 2025 season. Pedro's fracture is a non-displaced fracture of the ulna. See this little black line here? It's like this. The bone cracked, it split, but it didn't break, it didn't twist.
So the treatment tends to be quicker.
However, there's no need for surgery, but how do we have to do the treatment? And that's the way Pedro's treatment is done. It's called axillopalmar immobilization. It goes from up here, from the armpit, passing through the elbow down to the wrists. I have to keep the forearm, which is where the fracture happened, immobilized still.
To speed up healing and to prevent the patient, Pedro, from feeling pain.
And it's important to prevent a simple non-displaced fracture from turning into a displaced fracture. Imagine if he pushes himself to play.
Then he takes a hit.
The injury could get worse. Pedro might need surgery. And then it's over. So I believe, guys, that Flamengo's medical department will keep this immobilization for 4 weeks. They will reassess at the end of that period. And then we'll see if Pedro, after 4 weeks, will be able to at least play in case we make it to the Libertadores final and the final stretch of the Brasileirão.
That would be important. That would be important. Dr. Jean Lang, right there. If you can, follow on Instagram too. Yeah, man, I think maybe after 3 weeks, reassess. They're talking about 4 weeks. I think maybe he can already start training with immobilization to stay in shape and all that. Reassess after 4 weeks, and then he'll be ready to play. I'm very confident, just like Pedro is confident, that he plays in a possible final and the last part of the Brasileirão. I'm also very confident. Look, today we don't have Jorge Carrascal, but we do have Carrascal's stats here, which are impressive. With just a few games for Flamengo, Carrascal has been gaining more and more space and the trust of coach Filipe Luís. The midfielder has shown efficiency and impact on the field. In 12 matches, he has 4 assists and 6 direct goal involvements, averaging just 85 minutes per goal involvement. In addition to his offensive numbers, Carrascal also stands out for his creativity and intensity. He created 5 big chances, completed 15 dribbles, made 10 accurate crosses, and suffered 24 fouls. These statistics highlight his importance in the Rubro Negro's offensive sector. A signing that cost less than Samuelino and has been delivering better results than Samuelino. Samuel is good and gets results, but Carrascal, who had low expectations, is proving to be the best signing. Even with the little time at the club, the number 15 is already among the top 3 in 7 different internal rankings at Flamengo, showing that his quick adaptation and good performance have been fundamental in the team's progress under the command of Filipe Luís. That's awesome. And everyone really agrees that this is Jorge Carrascal's moment. That's it. Please follow, like, and share everywhere. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe, enable notifications, and like the video. We're in this together. Big hugs. See you. I didn't pass. Did I pass? Hey, let me tell you guys, the probable lineup is Agustin. Hey, sorry guys, I forgot. Agustin Rossi, Emerson Royal or Varela, Leo Pereira, Danilo, and Ayrton Lucas. Since Alexandro isn't on the list, he's on load management. In midfield, Sol, Jorginho, right? Jorginho, Saul, Arrascaeta. Samuel Lino, yeah. We don't have either Eric Pulgar or Carrascal, so Samuel Lino and Luís Araujo. And up front, Gonzalo Plata. He should be the substitute. I was about to say Pedro. He should be Pedro's substitute, right? Gonzalo Plata, Juninho, and Alan Souza are also available. But it's Gonzalo Plata who's the favorite to take Pedro's place. Thanks. Now I'm really leaving. Thanks.